For eHome here, definitely need to take at least a game in this series. Ideally, go 2-0 over Virtus Pro. VP, this is their final series. They're sitting pretty at 9 points. If they go 1-1 here, I think they're pretty secured, though. There could be a chance for some tiebreakers with a few teams tied at 10.
And getting the upper four or the lower four is super important. It's a giant jump in prize pool because it guarantees you a further spot. It's equivalent to going to loser bracket and then winning your first match, basically.
Yep.
So it's a huge deal. The only downside is you're very likely to play one of the best teams on the upper side of the bracket. They'll be like, oh, they barely got fourth. I want to kill that guy. And they'll take you out in the first round. Most likely, there are occasionally upsets, but in most cases, you're going down the loser bracket after your first win by getting fourth. But you never know. Some of these teams have... they're best of twos, right? Like Vici Gaming, for example. They played 7 matches. They got 7 points. It's fairly respectable. Looks like they got a whole bunch of 1-1s, maybe got a 2-0 here and an 0-2 there. They could definitely win a best of 3 against some of these top teams. It just depends to the set. So this is still pretty up in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the sake of clarity here on eHome, YJ down at the bottom, that is ZYF. He also tags up as Yang. I believe it's all the same person, just going under different letters. The Y is the key character there. So just FYI, if there's someone wondering, who's that YJ guy? Because in most of our documentation, he's known as ZYF, just as an FYI there. So
thank you. That was informative.
Yeah, interesting matchup of eHome versus VP. You don't get to see these two teams square off so often. I really don't know who the favorite is coming in here, Purge. I feel like these teams are relatively evenly matched in skill. You've got some great mechanical players, CTY versus G.
That's a really good point.
They kind of counteract each other a bit.
When we saw eHome yesterday, I casted that with Colo Guy, a CTY kind of just stomped on MVP Hot 6. There was a game or two where he just styled on MP in the mid lane, and MP's a very good player, so it was a little surprising to see. But G is definitely one of the best players in Europe, so I could easily see him going toe-to-toe with CTY. The signature hero for VP, in my opinion, right now is the Naga Siren. They're one of the first teams in the tournament to draft the hero. In fact, I saw VP take a 2-0 against CDEC, the current leader in Group B. So I think it was their trump card coming into TI, but unfortunately it was one of their major trump cards, and it's getting banned out first round consistently against them. And I haven't really seen them run a different strat that really is super effective. It's good picks and all, but it's not anything that has that's different, off kilter. They just kind of throw their typical meta heroes in. On the bright side for them, they have been able to get their gyrocopter, and Illidan's gyrocopter is fantastic. If he doesn't get aggressively tri-laned, I guarantee that he's going to have a good game. I'm not going to guarantee my life right now.
Another scary hero on the side of Virtus Pro. We've seen so much Earthshaker this tournament. Not often banned out in that first phase and often picked up here. FNG has played some incredible Earthshaker leading up to this event and also just during this event. It's definitely one of his signatures. So eHome will have their work cut out for them on that front. Razor Winter Wyvern, a slightly different take on the opener here for eHome. A lot of highly sought-after heroes still available in the pool. Your Bloodseeker, your Bounty Hunter, Tusk, all of them are still available and completely passed up. So
yeah, it's a weird one. The win rate of Winter Wyvern is actually pretty bad throughout the group stage. And the first 2 days he was picked a lot, but then people are like, okay, we're not winning very much. He's good. Like, Cold Embrace is a great skill, and sometimes it swings kills, and it seems overpowered. And occasionally, the ultimate Winter's Curse seems like, oh, wow, it's so strong. We got a kill that we shouldn't have been able to when we're behind. But when you're ahead, the hero feels good but not amazing compared to some other supports like, I don't know, Line, let's say, for example. If you're ahead of the line, you just start solo killing carries, and that isn't possible, really, for Winter Wyvern.
He's like the complete opposite of Disruptor, where when you're behind, Disruptor feels very lackluster, and when you're ahead, you're just constantly getting glimpsed, people run away, you get killed.
Exactly.
And Winter Wyvern's the
I feel
opposite.
like the Winter Wyvern pick here is a bit weird for eHome, but maybe they just have success with the hero, who knows? And maybe it's especially good versus Earthshaker and Gyrocopter in some way, but I don't think it's particularly good against either of those heroes, so weird pickup here. They can maybe zone a certain hero with it, but I'm quite confused on that.
Yeah, now some respect bands coming out here. Clockwork as well as Ancient Apparition. Two heroes that we haven't seen a lot of this tournament, but absolute respect against eHome. Maybe Virtus Pro are looking at that stats Bible that's been passed around because, hey, that's DDC's most played, and that is ROTK's most played right there. So either way, some respect coming out, and two heroes that eHome won't be able to utilize. Silencer, Queen of Pain. Same the other way around. Virtus Pro love that Queen of Pain, and they're one of few teams that run the Silencer, usually on Illidan, though they'll also put it in the 4 on occasion. We actually even saw it on day 2.
Not surprised to see those bans. We also saw eHome use a lot of clockwork yesterday. So RTK played in most games. He had one game where he kind of whiffed a lot of hooks, but still has a consistently good early game. And they also played AA, so very, very targeted bans there by VP. They did the homework.
Not a big surprise to see the Rubik either, one of Lanham's most played heroes, and even DDC plays it. They're one of these Eastern teams that really prioritizes the Grand Magus, but here we go, the Shadow Shaman. Talk about an underloved support. It is VP. This is at least the third time they've played him, if not even more than that. And to my knowledge, they are the only team that's been playing Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, they're the only team I've seen play it, and they play quite well. Get a fairly fast level 6. They can push with it. A little consistently ward traps with the hero. So I think it's just a hero they feel very comfortable with. That's the playstyle that Lil likes. Maybe isn't the best playstyle in the meta right now. As I watch Complexity play, I'm like, wouldn't you rather just have Alina and play really well and get core items? But you can't really do the same with Shadow Shaman. Yeah, you can grab an Ags and it more than doubles the effectiveness of his ult, but it doesn't give you quite the same solo kill potential, and especially versus a Winter Wyvern who can always Cold Embrace. Maybe it's not the best pick, but it's something they like. It's a hero they like playing. Go for it. I'm cool with them playing something that's slightly off meta, but they still find value in.
Yeah, and one thing that he does bring to the table is that Blink Hacks initiation, similar to the Lion, although the difference is instead of having that burst damage to pick up kills, you can siege towers, and also Roche control. That's the other big one with Shadow Shaman. Putting those wards down in the pit, allow you to kill Roche quickly and also make it harder for the opposition to hop in there and really take a fight and try to interrupt it. But, wow, lots of variety here, Purge. We'll see a fourth pick Phoenix now from eHome. This is the first Phoenix game I've got to cast, though I know it's been picked up at least a couple of times.
Yeah, I think I've seen it one other game, and I was also surprised then that it was picked. It was very popular last patch, but I think since then people are just kind of getting over it. Not a big deal. Very good teamfight hero. The range on VP is a bit lacking. Earthshaker's melee gyro is a bit shorter on the range scale, and Shadow Shaman as well can't often just stand still like that. He has to worry more about his positioning. So, and of course the wards don't do anything to it. Lina picked up. I like this as a counter. It'll be Illidan for sure playing the Gyrocopter. I really doubt that G will take it. So probably a G Lina, and Lina versus Phoenix, very good because you get all that attack speed from Fiery Soul. Your range is super high, so that's going to hurt Phoenix a lot here.
Yeah, great pick for sure. It's still open-ended whether or not the Earthshaker will go to the offlane for Phobos or if that's more likely to be the FNG hero. I really hyped up the FNG Earthshaker, and I think that's the likely choice.
Honestly, they haven't had FNG playing Earthshaker much at this tournament. I know he's done it in the past, but very likely they've been playing a lot of CM for him, which is why it's the 5th round ban there for eHome. He's played a lot of CM. He's played an occasional tree, but honestly, I've watched him play like 4 games of CM. Like he does not play Earthshaker very much, at least at this tournament.
So eHome's definitely reading this as an offlane Earthshaker for Phobos.
I think so. Phobos, whenever I see Earthshaker at this tournament, I think Earthshaker is going to Phobos for sure. But they definitely could change it up. Could be FNG. But if you have both an Earthshaker and a Shadow Shaman as a support duo, you're going to be really greedy on 2 heroes that need farm. And I think that's dangerous to do anyways. So I would rather them do Earthshaker offlane, I guess. I guess their carries still fine, because Lina, Gyro versus Razor or Storm, maybe not the best.
Okay, well, CTY will probably take that Storm headed to the mid lane, so that opens up a safe lane, or position 1, rather, Razor. I guess not necessarily the safe lane, though. Probably not an aggro try this go-around. Razor, Winter Wyvern, Rubik is definitely not the most intimidating of try lanes. So what does VP do with this final pick? Crystal Maiden's been banned out. What do they grab for FNG, assuming the Shaker goes for Phobos?
They need some stun duration, preferably against the Storm Spirit.
Should they just go Lion here, get the best of both worlds? You've got both the ults, and then you've got both the hexes, Shadow Shaman, Lina, and Lion?
It's maybe too many stuns. I think that would be the ultimate greed lineup.
Yeah, kind of. Exactly. They all need so much farm.
But Earthshaker in the offlane is kind of anti-greed if you think about it. Like, yeah, you still need Blink, but because he's in offlane, you're not going as hard into the late game with a core in the offlane, so maybe something like that is worth it. But they need something to help set up on Storm Spirit, I feel. Razor, Winter Wyvern, Rubik. Yeah. Razor's a bit hard to deal with in their team. I think they would have loved to have Crystal Maid in this game. Like, all 4 of their heroes on their team just really need mana. They needed something sacrificial that still has some disables. It would have been a good pick for them, I think. So maybe they're a little unsure what to do. But, I mean, they can already kill Storm. They can do Fissure into Lina combos, because Lina will be a core. They've got Shadow Shaman into Lina combos. Even Gyro's fairly decent against Storm. Like, Shadow Shaman's not a terrible support versus Storm. It's not great, but it's pretty good.
What else
I'm
has
just
FNG been playing?
I don't think it's a tree game because there's lots of damage sources like Storm Spirit Remnant.
Whoa.
And, okay, so Lina support, I guess.
Complete change of pace,
and G is going to play the Gyrocopter unless they put it on DK Phobos instead, and he does a safe lane. G will take the Gyrocopter, and so I guess they just weren't happy with the Storm being there. They've lost a couple games against the Storm Spirit already this tournament, and they just know that trying to do Lina core versus Storm is just so dangerous because as soon as the Storm gets ahead, it's just so tough for the Lina to get kills. So FNG playing the Shadow Shaman, Lil on the Lina, and DK Phobos still taking the Earthshaker.
A much different style from Virtus Pro, but I like this. Anti-Mage always good against the Storm, especially as he gets more mana. The mana voids just do that much more, and
he's pretty good against Phoenix too, I think, because he can generally always blink and go to the egg if he really needs to commit to the kill. But I don't think VP wanted to do this personally. Every single game I've seen, they played Shadow Shaman on Lil, and I think they're put into a corner where they said, we need a better Storm Spirit counter, and we have to pick one. So because of that, they're alternating their typical heroes. I'm sure they can handle the other heroes, but maybe it's not exactly what they want, and they're going to have a very, very poor Shadow Shaman this game. So hopefully he can make that work.
There we go. A little bug with my mini-map there. Okay, we're all set. Yeah, looks like an interesting draft on both sides. This is the final heat of this stream, guys. A big series for eHome in particular. Virtus Pro certainly would like a win here, but eHome are the ones that really need it. They need to go at least 1-1 in this series. A 2-0 would be fantastic from their perspective. Have fun, says Lil. Oh, I love the good man.
He says that every time. Usually he puts more A's and more U's in that, so he's maybe tilted. You never know.
You never know. You know, Phobos is one of the most interesting players in the international because he's one of the older players. I think he's 26 or 27.
Yes.
And he's actually a programmer for Na'Vi. He's been really involved in the Dota scene for a long time, but the last couple years he's been doing more back-end work with supporting the team, developing their website, and all this kind of stuff. So he's been really around, but his string of competitive history in recent times is actually kind of light. So he sort of feels like a newcomer to some people, but he really isn't. He's one of those OGs that's been around forever.
That's pretty cool, too, because he's been playing really well.
Yeah, it's great to see an old school player like that come back and, have a